Okay, so welcome to our latest introduction series. And today I have the pleasure of introducing Mary Corbett. So you'll maybe notice a little change in that it's me doing the interviews and not Leslie for a change. And we're going to have this little chat with Mary a little bit later than planned. So Mary did join us on episode 17, which is just over a year ago. So we've been slightly lax in getting organised, but that's all good. It will be definitely worth the wait. So yeah, so Mary and I met about almost 2 years ago now, actually, so the start of 2021, when I think we met in a networking meeting online, because that's what the world was doing at the start of 2021. And I think a couple of months of knowing you, then we thought, oh, your energy might be really good to come along and join us in Therapists in Conversation. So thank you for taking us up on the offer. Apologies for the delay in getting your interview done. But here we are, and we're going to have a great conversation all about you. So Mary, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us who you are, where you're from, and what got you to here?
Well, what got me to here? I think you're going to guess by my accent. I'm very Irish. And I probably am kind of almost a stereotypical. I'm an Irish mammy.
Love it.
But I'm an Irish mammy who coaches. And what I mean by that is I love just having that warm space for people where they feel really safe and they know that I'm in their corner no matter what. They can do no wrong in my world. And it serves me very, very well. So
are you sure that's a traditional Irish mammy? Because I'm sure stereotypically they're not always that supportive.
Well, my experience of Irish mammies are that they're always supportive and they find the best in everybody. They always see the best and they always see potential.
Fantastic.
That's my experience anyway. And I'm sticking to that story because I like it as a story. And I like it because I came to coaching having started my, as a young, fresh out of school, I did a psychology degree because I wanted to be a psychologist. And then I got my degree and decided I don't know anything about life. I can't possibly deal with people's problems. I haven't lived. So I abandoned any notions of using psychology. And instead, what I ended up doing was a lot of academic research on software usability. Which back in the day, because I would be belying my age, we still had green screens. They were just moving to color. So I was doing research on the effect of color and information displays. Great stuff. It was lovely.
I guess there's a slight thread there with psychology, isn't there?
There's a slight thread. Well, I was operating out of the psychology department, so yeah, it did that say, works. But that's so all that sort of clinical end of it. No. And then, so I did, European research, and we used to travel around Europe, and I developed a taste for good wine. And then I decided I wanted to go out on my own, and I did a little bit of consulting. And then I got bored with that, and I didn't like the idea of marketing and sales. So then I went and took a lovely job with the Irish semi-state, the Irish Gas Company, as a project manager. And then I worked really hard, and I was an effective project manager. That's what I did. And then I was looking at what I was doing, and I was going, this isn't doing it for me. And I was doing my work really well, but it wasn't satisfying for me. And that was way back in 2006, 2007. Mm-hmm. So there was a wonderful redundancy package on the table. So I grabbed it with my paws and I ran. I had notions of setting up a business at that stage, but then the big recession hit and I looked at, working with people who were in career transition like I was. In the middle of a really bad recession, it kind of didn't quite feel like the right time to be doing it. Because if you had a job, you were staying put and you were protecting your income. So gradually what happened was I evolved in my coaching. So I did a little bit of career coaching. I did a little bit of time management coaching. I did a little bit of positivity. And all of it I found interesting. So it took me a long time to find, what do I like doing as a coach? And I break all the rules. I love the career coaching I do. but it's only a small part of what I do. So yes, will I support people who are going mid-career, give them confidence for interviews, talk them through the process, work with them, coach them through that shift? Absolutely. Never advertise it anymore. Haven't advertised that I do that in years. But I do have a lovely subcontract from a wonderful US company, and they just send the clients to me. And that's my idea of perfect. It's just nice. What I really love doing, though, is people. I'm much more fascinated, in a sense, by the people who get promoted into a more senior position, or they move companies and they want to make a good impression. So they never ask anybody for help because, well, they've got the job and they're super and they can do it. And then they get themselves into a state of overwhelm because for some reason, their way of working, their habits and their patterns that might have worked well for them in the previous role or the previous company are suddenly not working for them anymore. And they don't quite know where to go, but they don't want to tell the company because that'd be admitting that they mightn't be perfect and they mightn't be geniuses. So I love working when people are in that state of flux. So I do a mix of, we do practical stuff. So I am, and this is where I think that this link to being the Irish Mammy coach comes back, is, okay, you need a solution to that problem. Let's find a solution. And we'll work on the small little solutions that build their confidence. And then quite separately, you're doing the head stuff and clearing their head and their sense of well-being and their sense of confidence and the sense of self-belief. But sometimes it's actually almost hand-holding them, here's how you don't say the word no, but you don't actually say yes all the time either. So I to give an example, I had working with a wonderful man at the moment. And if somebody rang him up, I'll be with you. His favorite response was, I'll be with you in 20 minutes. This was not a practical answer to anything. So we have, and it has taken 3 weeks to do it, trained him to say, he never says he's available in less than an hour, ever. Minimum is an hour. But what he actually does is tell them, I'm tied up with something at the moment. Would this time suit you? After he's already looked in his diary. So he's scheduling it. And it sounds like something deceptively simple. But if you're not thinking about how do I make this work, you just don't go there. Yeah. And that's the work I love.
It's only simple if you thought about it.
Yeah. So that's the stuff I love doing. And I love doing it either with people promoting. I also do it with small business owners who are getting ready to expand. But unless they get their own behaviors and patterns slightly tweaked, they could end up in an overwhelm very, very quickly. And that's a space I love to work in. So it's that wonderful mix of pragmatism, practical solutions, tried and tested. And then also that stuff about finding that mindset, getting it into a right space, recognizing when you've been triggered by other people's behavior, and then being conscious and aware of it enough to say, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to focus on something else. That's my idea. That's the sweet spot. It's where I love to be.
Yeah, it's helping people making their choices, isn't it? So one of the things you said earlier on there was that you love breaking the rules, and then you went off in a different direction. So tell me a bit more about your rule breaking.
If I'm told I can't do something, I love finding a workaround that I can still manage to do it. And, that actually comes up in coaching surprisingly often, is that people are stuck in a structure or a pattern or a belief in a rule. And I go, that's not a rule. Not buying that rule. And it's great because when you're an outsider looking, you just no. And when it comes to marketing, everybody's, you have to have the marketing people are brilliant for their rules. You have to niche and you have to have your agenda and you have to have this and you have to have that. And they're going, I just let people know I'm there. And I am absolutely, every time, if people emerge. I mean, I met somebody And I'm actually was trying to remember when was the last time I met her. The last time I had interactions with her was 5 years ago. She sent a referral on to me 2 months ago. So people know that they're sending me, when they send somebody to me, they're sending them to a very safe pair of hands who's going to mind them. So does that fit into any marketing model? I don't think so. And and when it comes to writing content for social media, I just go, if it doesn't get a big audience, I don't panic. I trust that whoever needs to see it will see it when the time is right for them. It will happen. And I just trust that as they say, the universe has my back.
Absolutely.
You know? I go out, I always can get a parking space.
Mm-hmm.
Same applies. When I need new clients, they emerge, they appear.
Excellent.
That's wonderful. So no, so in that sense, do I break rules? Yes, but I do say, I've spent I took a really significant break from social media lately, in that I still look at it, but I'm not adding anything to social media. Because I genuinely I don't know what it is message I want to send out to the world. So I'm kind of back. I know I kind of want to do currently something around talking and putting messages and putting content out there around when people are stuck. Because if you're stuck, most of it's inside in your head and belief systems. And I'm there, I'm sure I could do some lovely little 5 minutes mentoring bits on stuff that might be of value to people who are feeling stuck. And I think, we're recording this as what time? It's mid-November. So people are kind of like getting geared up for the new year. So I think, you know what? I think it's time to start putting content back out again. But it's very much has to feel that it's in the right time, the right place. These models that I see the marketing people do, that you must do this, and follow this policy, this formula, that drives me berserk. Because if I couldn't, I just can't do it. I can't. It's not me.
I wonder if that's a coach perspective. Because I know myself, I don't like being told what to do. And as coaches, we don't tell people what to do. And a lot of these marketing styles of things is about telling us, you must talk to your niche, you must talk about this topic, you must do it in this way, you must post this many times. So is it that you're being a rebellious person, or is it that you're being a coach who what needs to feel and intuit what is right for you than being told what to do?
Well, I think there's another little piece added on to that. And that is, I don't like being the same as everybody else. I like my uniqueness. And I think, that was part of the reason why when COVID happened, I went looking at, I'm in Cork. I went to looking at networking groups in the UK, networking groups in Canada. To me, that was an opportunity to do something completely off the wall, totally different. And, ending up talking to people from all over the world that I would never have considered pre-COVID as being something that was easy to do. Now it's just second. I don't think about it. It suits. And I think what I struggle with is when I'm been told what to do, I'm been told this is what everybody else is doing. So therefore, this is the model we've got data for. And I'm there going, but people get bored with being part of a model, and nobody ever fits being a model. It's like, I have seen, and I'm sure you have too, these templates for how to run sessions. And I'm going, how can you have a template to run a session? It's a human being there. Where are they at? Where are they at? They're not a model. They don't fit into a template. Have you met anybody who has ever actually fitted into a template 100%?
I always find, so that with my business, I find that the biggest challenge in the fact that people say to me, what's a typical session like? And it's like, are you a typical person? Because I'm not. I don't think anyone's a typical person, other than the fact that we've generically got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. Do you know what I mean? It's we're all so different and so unique that other than the hello and the goodbye at the start and the end of the session, who knows what's going to happen in the middle? And I think that's what's I think that's the benefit of working with people on a one-to-one basis.
Yeah.
With the skills that you and I bring to the table. It's one of those ones that you've got to go where the conversation takes you.
Absolutely. You have to. So, and I think that's why, I've been, have been doing quite a lot of career coaching lately. And every single session is so different because everybody has a different set of things, pressures on them. And even though they've all, had, I mean, there was a couple of people who'd had the same length of service in the same company, in the same role, and they were going in completely different directions now and very different priorities operating in their lives.
But even though they were the same people or the same length of time in the same company in the same role, they were possibly in different departments, working with a different team, working with each other.
They were actually all in the same department, the same team, but they had families, they had relationships, they had other decisions which were having significantly different impacts on them, which were now being prioritized. So I think we do have to be, and I think I run that I think that's where I say I get very rebellious around the whole marketing and the breaking the rules about how you should run a coaching business. I just don't get it. I just want to be me. Now, do I recognize unless people know I exist, they can't come and find me? So I do accept that I do have to put some material out there, but I'm very appreciative that for the last couple of months I took a break. But I'm kind of nearly ready again.
But I think that works when we talk with our clients as well, and having those breaks and having those time to step back and reassess the situation, whether it's with your social media or it's your job or it's with the people you're working with. There's such a value in that, taking a step back and looking at the bird's eye view.
I think there's a phrase a colleague of ours uses an awful lot, but there is so much truth in it. Slowing down to go fast. And there is that slowing down and just stopping, because it does. And I think the challenge to slow down nowadays is greater because we're still to me, I cannot slow down if I'm still looking at social media. Because I'm been drawn into an energies. It's not that direct person to person energy. I'm been drawn into other people's stuff that I don't fully slow down unless I actually completely switch off from it. So I am very conscious of that. And as I say, I like to take things simply and slowly, but I'll go as fast as is necessary. That's okay. Whereas there are others who quote you go as you choose to go as fast, and then you slow down as is necessary. I know, to me the priority is your own pace comes first. What's the right pace for you, for your decision making, for your changes, for your challenges? And even getting people to think about it, to actually say, hang on, what is it you want? What matters to you? Very often, and I notice this with people, they don't actually start thinking what they really want. That even that reflective practice. As a coach, I do it all the time, and I have to keep reminding myself, other people don't do that level of reflection.
No,
they really don't. And I think the world would be a better place if we all took a little bit more time to reflect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So interestingly, we've touched on a little bit the fact that we met in COVID times on a networking call that was based in Scotland, even though you're not in Scotland. How has your business and everything else around it changed since the start of 2020? Did you have to pivot, or have you continued in a similar way, other than bringing in obviously the rest of the globe? How's your business changed in the last 2 years?
I hate to say that, got better.
Not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. I think it's, I now very definitely have I have a US client at the moment. I had a client in India. I have had clients in the UK. I've had clients in Canada. So I have been quite clear that post-COVID, I want to hold on to as much of this as I can manage. So I'm setting a plan for 2023 that I'm saying, okay, I need to actually dedicate some time to letting people in those areas of the world see me. Because because I love working with really busy people, I love catching them before work or after work. So international time differences serve me very, very well. So if they want to get up at 6 a.m. and have a coaching call and they're West Coast USA, that's perfect timing. So there is no logic. So it makes sense that they can actually fit in coaching as something that's personal for them in their own time, and then go in and face the world for the day. So I can move from East Coast to West Coast quite easily.
A nice little follow the sun type pattern.
Really follow the sun. I would love that to happen, but what I have found in the last 3 months is I'm now been put back under pressure for my Irish clients to meet face to face. And I don't really want it. What I have decided is I will have 1 or 2, so that that once, twice, maybe a third time in the week, I will go out and meet a client. But that is it. That is my limit. Other than that, I'm not going to travel out, because I'm actually, there is no logic for me. It serves me to actually do it from the comfort of my laptop, and it makes more. I'm always preaching people, be precious with your time. You can't get time back. So, where do you want to spend it? In the car, or do you want to spend it being productive or with your family? So I need to be the person who says, yeah, I make practical decisions about my time in exactly the same way. I deal with the same issues you deal with. I have to have those same conversations as to whether it's a face-to-face meeting or an online meeting or a phone call. The same issues arise for me, so I'm not that different from them. And I think if I lost sight of that now, that would be a bit of a challenge. All right, I don't plan losing it.
So with those clients, then I'm assuming before everything happened and the world changed 2 years ago, you were predominantly face to face with your clients?
I would have been 95% face to face. I would have had maybe 1 or 2 online, but that was the most, and that was consciously trying to move to an online space.
Okay, so you were trying to do that beforehand anyway.
Yeah.
So how do you find the differences in how you approach a client session when it's face to face or in person, or is there not really much of a difference at all?
I have to actually watch my distraction level.
Okay.
Because if you just think about it, if I have the client sitting in front of me, they're sitting at a desk, I can see a little bit of stuff behind them, but not really much of their world. So I am very much tuned into the pitch and tone of their voice, which we find very difficult to lie in behind. We can play poker with our faces, but the pitch of our voice is a lot more challenging.
Okay.
So I tend, for the most part, if I'm coaching, I will always have a headset on, always, because it focuses my hearing. So I'm looking at, but I can still picking up, are they fidgeting? Are they distracted? You will catch the eye movements, but you'll know if something goes off, even if they have a good microphone, and you'll catch the eye. So your sensitivity to movement of who you're actually seeing, what movements, the micro movements, is very prevalent. What I find now is that after 2 years of COVID, I'm the one who's getting distracted around the environment if I go out and meet somebody inside. So I have to absolutely, I have to watch my own distraction levels.
Yeah.
And if I meet them in their own office, I generally don't like to meet clients in their own space, particularly the business ones, because it's too easy for interruptions.
Okay.
So I tend to pull them away from the office. I have one at the moment that I meet him in his office, but he's very clear. I could hear his phone going the last morning we had a call. He literally, his eyes did not move. He stayed totally in the conversation. His ability to switch off was actually better than mine. And I was, wow, okay. So I was learning, I was picking up, this guy can totally focus. This guy can zone in, zone out. I was learning a huge amount about him and strategies that we could use for him to better manage his time. All great stuff. So it's different.
Mm. But by the sounds of it, you're actually bringing more of yourself as a coach to the table if you're at your own table.
Yeah. And I like being in this space. This is my space. Yeah. Okay, I've decided I no longer like my background, so I've got to do something about that, but that's okay.
You and me both, so you never know. The next time we do a recap next year, we'll maybe have totally different backgrounds.
Oh, I will. I have decided that I have to raid my nature photographs. I want nature photographs behind me.
Excellent.
Because I actually want the distraction of the photographs, and I'm going to use it.
I look forward to seeing the changes, and I'm sure anyone who's watching will be able to see that in the episodes from 31 upwards, perhaps.
31, yeah.
So that gives a little bit of a hint
32,
that we're in
32.
Yeah, we're about to record 31 next week, so we'll give you a little bit more time.
Yeah. I think for post 32, from 33, the office should have been redone by then. Definitely.
Excellent. So a quick one that I was going to ask you about. You have been doing information sessions for a program that you run on a relatively regular basis. So tell us all about that and how people can get in touch with you from that perspective.
Okay, it is a model called Positive Intelligence, and it's about supporting people that they can learn about their own personal saboteurs and develop skills over an 8-week period to actually recognize when they've been mentally sabotaged, take extra techniques to pull themselves back so that they can actually respond to situations in a much more positive way and recognize the situation. The information sessions I try to run. I will be running a few between now and Christmas. So, but generally they'll be run twice a month, usually on a Thursday evening. So I tend to do 2 Thursdays of the month. So usually the 1st and the 3rd. Whether that all holds next year, in or around, that's roughly. There's regularly one will happen. So they usually happen around 6:30, 7 or 7:30 in the evening, depending on what else is happening in my world.
And that's Ireland time.
That's GMT. That's really, but it's not Irish time. That's a different concept for another day.
Ireland time, not Irish. I figured
that's true. You did indeed. You did indeed. So what I do is I run an information session where I give you the basics. This is what this is about, and then if people want to hear more, then we'll take it from there. But I have found I have sometimes got my normal clients just to come on that information session to learn about mental saboteurs. So you will learn about it in the hour, no matter what. And there'll be, and if you want to take it further and to develop work on the program, then we'll set up that can happen. What I would say to people is connect with me on LinkedIn or send me an email. They are the 2 best ways of getting in contact with me, because I am going back on my social media, so I will be back on LinkedIn regularly. It's the best.
Well, you see you're there anyway, even if you're not posting. So I'm sure you're still in your messages.
I'm absolutely on my messages, but that is the best way to find me. So it's info@marycorbettcoaching.com if they want an email.
Cool. So if anyone's looking to book into the calls with you to come on to the info sessions, it's a direct message on LinkedIn after the connection.
Send me a direct message on LinkedIn, and I'll tell you when the next one is happening.
Fantastic. Or an email to you.
Or an email
directly to you. Fantastic. Yeah. And any other ways of getting in touch with you? Anywhere else you would like to direct people to have a look at to find more out about you?
Not right at the moment, because I'm busy scheming at the moment, so I don't want to say anything because I haven't made final decisions as to whether or not I'm going back on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, or YouTube. I have to come up with a plan yet, so the plan isn't finalized.
And does the same go for a website as well, or is that
same as going for a website? Because
you're rejigging everything.
I'm rejigging everything, but I will always be staying on LinkedIn, and I will always be holding my email address, so they're not going to change no matter what.
Perfect. So just to wrap up, what you were saying is you're looking for people who are at that transition point in their careers where they've just up leveled and they're maybe not quite settling in as well as they would like to, And anyone who
Exactly.
wants to know more about the positive intelligence side of things that you're working on right now.
Absolutely. That sounds like a plan.
Anything else you would like to add before we wrap up this introduction to yourself?
Well, I have a great phrase that I love to use because I'm Mary Corbett, and with me, you'll always be good to go.
And on that note, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And come along, join in on our monthly therapist and conversation recordings. And you'll hear more about what we want to chat about. And there will be other videos coming soon as other introductions to our new people coming along and joining us in those conversations too. But for now, I'm going to say thank you, and we will wrap that up there. And that's us for now. Cheers.
Lovely talking to you.